What went wrong with Toto the Seventh One? I'm John Beaudin from Rock History Music. A lot of folks will look at the debut album from Toto as being just a perfect album. Toto 4 certainly was. The next one after that, though, was certainly the seventh one. Joseph Williams was in the fold this time for the second album, following Fahrenheit, and all the pieces seemed to work together, but why wasn't this one of the biggest albums of the 80s? It's certainly one of my favorite albums from that era. Here's David Page. You know, my three favorite albums of all time are Mad Men Across the Water by Elton John, first album I ever bought.
Absolutely.
Mike Rutherford's debut album, A Small Creep State, which a lot of people don't know about.
I don't know about that.
And this one, with you, I called it a 1-2 punch with you and Joseph going back and forth. There is this thing, and I was licking the floor with pain with a bad breakup at the time. God knows I needed something. And this album came out, and I don't remember the time I could say an album literally changed the direction of my life. And that's the first review I ever wrote professionally as a writer. I never understood why that album never made it as big as it did. It should have in North America.
Yeah. What happened, one of the things that did happen that prevented it from reaching its peak was we had Pamela. Pamela was on the charts, and it was zooming up the charts. We only needed one more radio station, WMMS, I think it is, in New York City, some big, huge station. And right when it got to be like number 20 with a bullet, CBS fired the president of CBS, and they closed the doors and locked up. Black Rock was locked down for 2 weeks. Now, they had a Springsteen record that was number 15. That dropped too. That dropped off the charts. Our thing dropped off the charts. And immediately we had all this momentum going on that record there until they brought a new, that's when Tommy Mottola came in and replaced Al Teller, you know? So it's funny when you have a record company, a lot of the better record companies are guys that have had the same president for all those years that believe in their acts. People like Ahmet Ertegun, people like Mo Austin, you know what I mean? People like that, record people, you know, that stick with their companies. You know, where CBS, Sony, God bless their hearts, when we're changing presidents like I change underwear. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Where did the album cover for that album? I mean, I'm looking, and there's her ruby slippers are there, and
that's right.
Where
you got some of that. Those are that was my wife, because the first title was going to be Broken Toys. And it was going to be a little bit larger with skateboards and bicycles and stuff like that. But then I said, I saw the movie To Kill a Mockingbird, where they open up the first scene is a little cigar box with little toys in it, you know? So my wife got the idea, well, let's just get all of her collectibles and artifacts and little things she's kept over the years. And so she put them in a box together. Now, my wife used to do tabletop design for commercials, food commercials and stuff. She was a food stylist. So she knows how to get up close with lots of little detailed objects like that. And she just went in her treasure box and pulled out all these little things, which we're going to try and put a little detailed silhouetted maps come out sometime and number them and tell what each of the little pieces are.
Yes, that would be great. Yeah.
So anyway, it came from my wife's art direction.
Okay, let's talk about the album. By the way, I wanted more. Okay, I'm glad you released this. Okay. You made my year releasing this.
Oh, thank you.
But I hope you release more, because I get a feeling you got more in you.
I've got some stuff lying around here, but it takes me I'm real slow at doing this stuff, and methodical and a perfectionist, sometimes too much on it, you know, but I've always got in the back of my mind, here's other things stirring around, you know what I mean? And as I go through my hidden weeks, when I find these pieces and everything like that, I'm going to start dusting off a few more and seeing what I have, you know what I mean? Maybe try and come up with a part two EP, you know what I mean?
The first song, I mean, I remember when Steve P told me, and I've talked to him a few times about the beginning of Hydra.
That's right.
The other guys didn't really know about it, kind of.
That's right. That's right. They did not.
But see, the first song, Forward, reminded me of that. I'm going, I felt a mood. You put me in a mood right away. Tell me about that song.
That was the idea. So I hate when an album starts out the way you expect it to start out, which is like usually a drum fill, and they go into a rock and roll song or a guitar riff, you know, and you just go into a guitar song. Which I'm such a fan of Jerry Goldsmith, the movie composer, and I got to work with him. We actually played on Rambo: First Blood, the very first Rambo movie. On the end titles, Jerry asked me to produce the end title, so I did, and I brought in Jeff, that's Lukather, and that's Hungate, playing on First Blood on that. They wanted to actually say it was Toto, but we weren't using our name for exploiting movies at that time, which we should have probably, but didn't. And that's how that goes from the Neil Diamond thing, that was Robbie Robertson's studio out in Malibu. And it's so funny because I remember distinctly, they had been a big calendar review saying how the band had broken up and no one knows where they are. And they were gone to their different states to live it. And I went out to the studio, and there the entire band, they were setting gear up and all talking to each other like best friends, you know? So I said, I thought you guys were broken up. And he goes, and Leadon Helm says, we just evaporate every once in a while, you know? And so that was their story. That was pretty pinch me moment, you know?
The great David Paich. All the albums that you see running while we're doing the interview are albums that he either wrote songs on, mostly played on, or he was involved in the mechanics behind the scenes. What an incredibly prolific musician. One of my favorite interviews. Such a nice man, huh? We'll have more from David Paich coming up in the next few days. If you join our Patreon, you'll have access to the clips before anyone else. I'm John Beaudin. This is Rock History Music.